See here we have the storage option. In this advanced storage option, like we can go to that volume. Say in this volume here, delete on termination is there.
Okay.
Say
So
here by default that option is yes, sir.
yes. Okay.
If you don't enable this, say for some production servers, like even client want that volume, even the instance is got deleted also, then we need to keep no.
Okay.
That means even if the instance accidentally deleted also, what is going to happen is
So it will be at the volume
that volume is persistent.
still
Later from that
existing.
volume, we can create an instance also.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so keep a volume, okay, and try to create an instance from that volume. That means first to create an instance with the volume, detach that volume and attach this volume to that instance.
Okay.
So that assignment also try to do. In the real time, we don't get that opportunity to work on all these.
Yeah.
So here only in your account only you can practice. In the real time, we can't do all these.
Yeah.
In the real time, all of a sudden that issue may comes, then we need to give the solution. Here you need to do all these things you need to do. Okay, then by default here, what is that is? Encryption also is there. What is the meaning of encryption?
It is like not human readable format.
Between the EC2 instance and the EBS volume, like we are going to get the instance, we are going to get it. Okay, so that's we need to take the encryption need to be taken. Okay, so that encryption, what is going to happen is the data is going to be secure, and a lot of companies have the compliances. It's mandatory; they want the encryption also. But that instances may be created 2 years or 3 years back. Then how to manage that also we need to consider. That means that instance is already running. Okay, but previously it's not enabled. Okay, so previously that is not enabled. Now what we need to do is like for that existing instance, we need to enable the
particular value.
Yeah, encryption need to be enabled. Okay, so that is the assignment we will be getting. So we may identify 5 or 10 instances in our project. Those are created long back, and we don't have that kind of compliance at that moment. We don't have the encryption. Okay, so then like what we need to do is we can't directly say suppose here we have I'm stopping this. We have two instances, first Amazon and second instance we have, right? By default, it's not going to be enabled. Those encryption is not coming by default. So it depends upon the requirement. So we need to choose, okay, so which of the instances we need to encrypt. So that's we need to perform. So in the stop state, so now here for the second instance, I'll try to enable, I'll go to this EBS volume also. So now here if I go for the storage, I'll get my block device. So this is the block device. And here also I can see whether that has been encrypted or not. So it's a general purpose GP3 we have. So here encryption, we don't have. So like this, we have identified the instances which are not encrypted. From now onwards, we need to enable the encryption for those instances. Okay, so then I need to go to that instance and I need to shut down that instance. I need to shut down that instance also. The second instance I'm taking, I'm stopping the instance. So first I'm going to take the snapshot of the volume. Then I'll go to snapshots. I can go. say create a snapshot either from the volume also we can do. For the volume, I'm taking the snapshot. Okay, so I think that is 5, 6 we have is the right. That is our volume. 5, 6 what we have is the volume. Okay, I'm taking the snapshot. So I'm taking the snapshot of that. Then like I need to, this snapshot need to be created. So what is the use case we are doing? We have an instance. That instance is previously it's not encrypted. Now we need to encrypt that. Okay, so this snapshot need to be created. So once we got the snapshot in the actions, so we have an option called copy snapshot. Okay, in the actions we have this need to be created. So once the snapshot has been created, here we have the option copy snapshot. At the time of copy the snapshot, we need to enable encryption need to be enabled. Okay, so either default managed keys we can use or customer CMK also we can enter. Then like from that snapshot, we need to create a new volume. So we need to create a new volume from the snapshot also. Then that volume need to be attached to,
Instance.
yeah. So at the instance level, we need to detach the unencrypted volume and need to attach the encrypted volume. Yeah. So now that is done, I think. So here we are getting an option, copy the snapshot. While copying the snapshot, what we need to do is, yeah. So here we need to enable encryption. And as of now, by default, I'm going with the default AWS KMS key. When KMS key is created, here we can use even customer key also we can create. Okay, specify a customer KMS key also. So in this scenario, we'll use this customer key also will create. Then I'm going to copy the snapshot. Okay, so then this is the copy of the snapshot, right? This snapshot, from this snapshot, what we need to do?
We need to add instance.
No. First, we need to create a volume from this.
Yes.
So we need to create a. So here, once the snapshot is created, here we need to choose the option create volume from the snapshot. Create the volume from the snapshot. Okay, so let's create that snapshot. That is in the pending state itself. Still it is taking time. Okay, so once that snapshot is there, with the encryption, we need to create the snapshot. So for that encryption, it is maybe taking that time. After that, we need to create a volume and we need to detach the volume. What is the volume? We have that volume we need to detach and need to attach a new volume to that. Need to attach a new volume. Even if you say, suppose here a lot of people have one doubt, AWS is going to charge if we stop the instance. Say I have an instance, uh, uh, like is AWS is going to charge like the money if we stop the instance or not? Can you confirm me that?
Not charge.
Okay, AWS is going to still is going to charge, but not for CPU or memory. Okay, so they are going to charge for that EBS volumes. The cost can be reduced, but still billing will coming because the EBS volumes are present. Okay, so even in the stopped state also, okay, so we are getting the amount for the the EBS volumes we are charging, and a lot of people we have one scheduling kind of EC2 instances. Okay, so in order to schedule the EC2 instances, what we can do is we can use some Lambda function, and people may tell the business hours. On that business hours, we need to stop the instances. So assume my office hours are 9 to 6 for a bank. Then I want to stop my instances by 8 p.m. Again at morning 8 a.m. I want to start those servers. Okay, so these kind of scheduling, if I have the thousands of missions every day, I can't take those manually. I can't stop or start the instances. Like through the Lambda script, we can write, and what it is doing is on behalf of us, it's going to schedule all the instances. So for that use case, we can tell we are using Lambda. So we are using the Lambda. So most of the automation we can do using the Lambda itself. We can do the automation. Most of the automation we can do from the Lambda. Another use case I'll tell, say user is creating wrong AMI or instance type. Okay, that is not accepted in our project. Okay, so that means he is chosen very high-end instance type or wrong AMI has chosen. Then at the time of instance creation itself, we need to identify that. Then Lambda need to delete that instance provisioning itself. You got the use case, right? What is the use case? The users are creating hundreds of instances, but in that, if there is any of the wrong AMI is there or not supported instance type is there, we need to recognize that. Then we need to delete that instances. So we need to delete those instances also. We need to delete. Okay. So then the third option what we have is, so what is the third option we are having is uh, so whenever the user say in the project wise, we have the tags are mandatory in the most of the projects. Means we are not creating the appropriate like a tags. Okay, either I need to map the tags or I need to delete the instances also. I need to delete the instances also. I need to delete. What I need to do is I need to create an appropriate tags, or I need to delete those instances if any of the tags are not matching. These kind of activities also we need to automate through the Lambda we need to perform. Okay, so these we'll discuss this. We need to write a Lambda code in the Python or like a whatever the programming language is supported by Lambda. Mostly we are using Python, and we are going to perform this kind of automation that's going to like stop or schedule the instances or terminating the instances if the compliances are not matching or tags are not matching. Those all we need to perform. Okay. Then we'll come to that instance still in the pending state. Yeah,
So
now that is created. Yeah, please tell me.
with the Lambda functions, is it possible to do vertical scaling? Means to schedule it on.
Yes, we can suppose, but the conditions how to validate is from the CloudWatch. We need to get that. Okay, so based on that conditions, we need to do the vertical scaling. So on what factor you need to scale up, you need to decide, right? The changing of the instances, all this we can do from the Lambda also, we can do it.
Not instance, but for CPU and memory kind.
Vertical scaling means we are changing the instance type only, right?
And also CPU and memory.
That means your unlimited credit you are telling.
No, there is an option change CPU.
Increasing the CPU and memory at the
Yes.
container level, like that is the VM recently they have given. We need to check that. So previously for vertical scaling, we need to change the instance size itself. CPU and this, if you want to increase, we can scale up that. But what condition, on what condition you need to retrieve, that's we need to get it from the CloudWatch. You need to get those metrics.
Okay.
On what factor you need to increase or decrease that, those all we need to get it from the CloudWatch. If you got those metrics from the CloudWatch, based on those metrics, Lambda can trigger in the alerts. We can call that Lambda can trigger this. CloudWatch will trigger this Lambda. Lambda can scale up those resources. Okay, so that is also like Lambda, we can do a lot of automation, but some use cases if we discuss depends upon the project wise, we need to work on those issues. So now here what we have done is, we created the encryption of those and I'm creating a volume from the snapshot. So same general purpose I'm using. So now here whenever I taken, automatically here we are getting this KMS key. One problem we are getting with the KMS key is the scope of the KMS key is only within the region. But whenever we replicate this to another region, okay, so whenever we replicate this to another region, okay, so what is the problem we are getting is this KMS key won't come into another region, it won't come. Okay, so that is the problem here we are facing. At that moment, any solution? I hope you got the point, right? Here we have a KMS key. This KMS key scope is within the region itself, but we want to copy this to another region. We don't get that KMS key. In that situation, what is the solution we have?
We need to give a KMS ID for that particular.
I'm sorry, I didn't get you.
I'm saying KMS ID we can keep that particular ID.
So we need to use the customer base it then.
Okay.
Instead of using default KMS key, in that region also we'll use the same customer KMS key we can use. Okay, so in that situations, better to go for the customer keys because we are replicating this KMS key from this is not possible, I think. I'll check that. But this scope is only within the region. KMS scope is only within the region we are getting. How to import this to another region also? So try to explore. So then I'm going to create a volume. So this volume is encrypted or not? Because as this is creating from the snapshot, automatically this volume has been
Encrypted.
encrypted. So now what we need to do is,
We need to detach the old one and
yeah, we
attach
need to
this.
detach the old volume and need to attach the new volume need to be created. So now, like in the volumes, I'll go and the 3.6 we have the volume, right?
This.
Sorry, this 5.6 I think. This 5.6, I'm detaching this volume. I'm detaching this volume. Then we need to select that encrypted one. This is the encrypted one. Actions. I'm going to choose the attach volume. I'm going to choose the attach volume and to which instance, like that second instance we have. So that is in the stopped state. And here that device name, so that device name is the XVDA we can. I think yesterday we have that XVDA is the XVDA I have given. So now we will go to that instance. Dev XDA itself and try to attach. So now that is getting started. It's internally maybe renamed to the dev XVDA, it's renames. So now if we go see this instance volume, it should be encrypted itself. Here it should be encrypted and the KMS key. So now here what is the assignment for you is this snapshot you need to copy to that snapshot you need to copy to another region or another account. There you need to create an instance. Okay, at that moment, what is the problem with the encryption we are getting is this KMS key may be not replicated to that
particular region or
to that region. For that also we need to give the solution. Okay, so try to work on that. Okay, so then here if you go to that instance, so that status checks, here we have that status checks, right? So now what is the meaning of status checks? I suppose if an instance is not connecting, the first step what we need to do is like we need to come to the status checks. So now here mostly we have two status checks we have it's called as 2 by 2. In this 1 by 2 status check is called as system status check. 1 by 2 status check is called as system status check. Okay, second one is called as 2 by 2 status check, that is called as instance level status check. Okay, if you have any problem with the instance, still yesterday it's working fine, all of a sudden today it's not working, come and check these instance status checks. Any problem is there, we'll go to another instance. Okay, so now here, what is this meaning of 2 by 2 status checks are passed? So what is this meaning is, okay, system reachability check pass. Second one is instance reachability is passed. The first one is at the hardware level. Say suppose our EC2 instance is running on a host. That's maybe on top of that they may have the gen server that system status check will confirm in the AWS data center that host is working fine. The second 2 by 2 status check will confirms us instance is working. The first one will confirm whether that the first one will confirm what
hardware related call.
so whether that system is working. Okay, say if there is any issue with the system status check, we can't do anything. We need to contact the AWS support. Okay, that means is there problem from their hardware or their networking, their storage or the physical layer, mostly the problem would be there. Instance status check, even AWS also sometimes they will check, and even our application also may be causing the problem, out of memory exceptions. Mostly that is our related issue also, it's maybe. Okay, so hence for the 1 by 2 status check issues, the troubleshooting would be different. And for 2 by 2 status checks also, the troubleshooting would be different. But the first thing we need to confirm, okay, so whether that 1 by 2 and 2 by 2 status checks are good or not, and whether the metrics are there in the appropriate, like maybe we have the metrics, these all the metrics got it for from the CloudWatch basic monitoring we are getting, because for the AWS CloudWatch basic monitoring, AWS is not charging any money. Only for the detailed monitoring, AWS is charging. Okay, so here these two metrics are related to 1 by 2 and 2 by 2 status checks. When that has been happened, all those will get. Other than that, here also we are getting those metrics also. And if you enable the manage detailed monitoring, AWS will charge the money for that. If you enable the detailed monitoring, AWS is going to charge those money. Okay, so then here we need to consider like CPU utilization. For all these, we'll configure the alarms also we will trigger. So what is the advantage of the alarm is, if any of that occurred, we can do the automation also instead of doing manually. The method of doing is we can send a notification. But in the new methods, we can do a Lambda script or event bridge. We can integrate. So with that also we can perform some automation on top of CloudWatch. That's like no need of again a support engineer to do those things manually. That means most of the frequently occurred issues, we need to do the automation also from the CloudWatch or monitoring solution itself. We are going to recognize those monitoring and that's we are going to automate. And if that triggers the alarm, automatically this Lambda, this automation is going to perform those automation. Okay, so here we need to configure the CloudWatch agent and detailed monitoring also. Those also we'll discuss and we'll go to that instance. So I think this is the Ubuntu instance. With 12 kada, 12 kada. Practice second, lip sync second. So for connection wise, there is no problem because that is at the between the like EC2 instance, the DBS volume, there would be the fiber channels, all that. Among that data is going to transfer. That data we have encrypted. So what yesterday we have done is I connected through the Cloud Shell, right? Instead of connecting to the Cloud Shell, I'll try to install AWS CLI. I'm updating the app. But in app by default, I think we are not getting this package. AWS CLI, we are not getting this. Okay. Say AWS is telling use Snap install. Snap is also one packager kind of thing. Say here we need to give one option called classic. Or AWS CLI we may be getting as a zip also. That also from there also we can install, but through the packager I'm trying to install. So now it's installed. AWS has been installed. What is the command line tool is AWS. If we type something here, this all we are getting means AWS has been installed. AWS version. Okay, so now this is the one Linux instance. We need to log into like in the browser you'll authenticate, right, using the username, password, or IAM user like this. Here we need to log in our even through the CLI also we need to enter. But instead of entering the username and password, what AWS is providing is AWS is providing the programmatic access. So that's we are getting access key and secret key. So now in the AWS CLI, we need to type AWS configure. we need to type the AWS configure. Then if you type the AWS configure, then it is going to ask me the AWS access key, secret key, region, then output format. 4 details I need to get. I'll try to get those details. Then here I'm going to use this account ID. I'll go to security credentials. I'm going to create those security credentials. For every IAM user also we can get the same security credentials. But for the root account, generating programmatic access in the real time is not at all recommended. Okay, so here I'm going to create a security key. Already 14 days back, one set of keys has been created. At any point of time, we can manage 2 set of keys we can manage. The 2 set of keys we can manage. So this is one security key. Third key we can't create unless we delete these keys. So now again, I'm going to hit AWS configure. Then I'll copy this access key. Then here I'm going to enter the secret key. Then region name, I need to give the region name. Don't give the name like Mumbai, North Virginia. ID we need to use. And 1A, 1B also don't give. Those are for
Availability zones.
available zones. So here we need to give the region name. Okay, then we need to give the output format also. So we need to give the output format. Say when we run the commands yesterday, if you see, once I run the EC2 instance, run instance, the command line in the shell, it given the output format in the form of JSON file.
JSON file.
Okay, so here you want in the JSON table, okay, text format or YAML, okay, any of those format. By default, you can choose JSON or I can give the table format also. Mostly JSON format people prefers because once they got the JSON format, they can process that JSON format also programmatically. So now these we have configured, right? Then if you go for I'm in my home directory, home Ubuntu is my home directory. Then here we have .aws is my .aws is my all the credentials are going to store, and by default that is a hidden directory. Then in this we have 2 files mainly, config and credentials. Then if I go for the config, I'm getting my region details and output. If you want to change, you can change here also. And the credentials, so here we have the access key and secret key. So once we configure this from the AWS, we can run. So now here we have launching all this. So now yesterday I think I created one instance.
Yes.
Yesterday I created one instance. So using this command itself, AWS EC2 run instances, we created an instance. Now what I'm trying to do is, I'll go to that console. Again, if you come to IAM, it's a global service. This third instance, even through describe instances also we can get that. So this instance ID I'm taking. And one more point is, for the encryption, AWS is not charging any money. That is included in the EBS volume money itself. Okay, so AWS EC2 terminate instance, that instance ID I'm passing, and anyhow that should be in the instance is in the North Virginia itself, then that instance need to be terminated. Okay, so here that instance will go to stop shutting down, then stop, then it would be terminated. And at the time of shutting down of the EC2 instances also in the real time, what we can do is, say suppose that is a production server, before shutting down also, like maybe that's going to be terminated. So then Lambda can collect the files, all those also can be performed. That means if any of the like accidental termination kind of thing, I want to collect the logs, all those also from the CloudWatch can recognize this instance is going to be terminated. And from that we can perform that automation also. So some of the use cases we'll discuss from the Lambda wise also, but that is infinity kind of thing, depends upon the user requirements. Once we need to know how to use the Lambda, all that, so we need to write the automation scripts. Okay, so now this instance is also getting shut down. That instance got terminated. So now here in the same way, try to create some instances. Okay, so then VPC resources, S3 resources, IAM resources, everyone try to create from the CLI, try to create all these resources, try to create from the CLI, you need to create. Okay. Then here we can add one like a more like a regions also. We can create a multiple named profiles. Okay, so for all that also I'll send one video. I think already I shared that also. I'll reshare that also. Try to finish, because in order to go to CloudFormation or maybe want to go for Terraform, like you need to work with the CLI also. So hence try to provision, even that CLI is throwing the errors also. Try to create multiple commands. You try to create and clean up those resources from the CLI itself, especially the VPC resources, S3 resources. Okay, so later EC2 resources also try to provision from like from the command line, try to provision. Okay, so here launch scripts. The launch scripts is very simple. You come to the launch instance. So I'm going to take the instance here. Any of the instance you can take, and I'm taking Ubuntu. So then what is the concept of launch scripts?
Post installation of
It's
server.
like at the time of instance launching itself, it's a boot script kind of thing. Is a boot script kind of thing. That's all the packages or sorry, whatever the like commands we have given, whatever the scripts we have given, those are going to run. Those scripts are going to run on the instance launching itself. On the instance launching itself, those are going to run. So now here I'm going to use Ubuntu 24.04. Remaining all default options I'm choosing, and I'm choosing the existing key pair itself. I'm maybe Ubuntu key pair itself. Then networking. Say here I'm opening because I'm going to install web server through the CLI itself. Then go to advanced options. So in the advanced options also, we have very, very important things. We can join that to the domain also, or IAM instance profile. Say suppose in the IAM role we have created, say suppose for EC2 instance, I want to give the permission to access Lambda kind of thing. That kind of instance profile can be, that kind of instance profile we need to attach. That means that IAM role we are attaching to instance, and instance auto recovery, shutdown, hibernate. Say in this, termination is as of now important. If I enable this termination protection, that's going to get the accidental termination protection also, and stop protection, and the detailed monitoring, and this credit specification also we are going to install. Okay, so these all we are going to give these options. So once we give these options, like placement group is, say when we want to keep those in the zones, we are going to keep in the placement group, we are going to keep it, say in the placement group, we can keep two different placement groups. We can, if you choose two zones, then no need of the concept of placement groups, but two critical servers, I want to keep on the same zone. Then we need to work with the placement groups. If two instances I need to keep on,
Placement group.
yeah, so two instances I need to keep on the same zone. So due to latency, some other kind of constraints we have. Okay, then we need to choose the placement group. If we want to keep two critical servers on two different available zones, we are going to keep. That is the reason we are not using the placement group, but we can create a placement group and two different placement groups. You keep the two instances. Okay, so then here purchasing also we are not going for the spot instances. You want to choose the spot instances, all these we can choose. By default, we choose an on-demand instances. Okay, so now here we have this user data. So what this user data is going to do?
In that we can
So here we can enable the file also. That means if you have any script kind of thing also, that script can be uploaded. So now here we need to keep that user data, and what this user data will do is at the time of instance provisioning, whatever the scripts we have given, say suppose I'll try to give some scripts.
we can give Nginx documents.
Yeah, says that Nginx, whatever the packages we want to install. So first I'm telling to use the bash shell. So bin bash I'm trying to tell. No need to give the sudo here while giving this. But this -y options are very important. Otherwise, it would be waiting for that. There is no user request will come, right?
Yes. Start Nginx. System setting enable.
So you want to copy any of the data, all those also we can give the permission. Just I'm trying to run this. So we can copy the websites, all those also we can do. And we need to troubleshoot also. Sometimes we given the user data, but that's not executing. How to troubleshoot, all that also is our job. And by default, the user data is executing only for the first time itself. Okay, that means second time if I restart this instance, it won't execute. If this want to execute on the second time or third time also, we need to configure some settings. Okay, so these all we need to configure some settings. So let's the same options you need to enable on the Windows instance also. Try to run some PowerShell commandlets, and that PowerShell commandlets may need to install IAS kind of settings. All those we need to set up. So that instance came to running state.
We need to give a security group.
Come again?
We need to provide a security group.
Yeah, I think at the time of instance itself, I have enabled that.
Yes.
I have enabled that.
colon 8080 maybe we can
Come again.
means colon 8080 maybe we give there so that it will be work or there is no issues.
So we'll go to that instance and we'll verify.
Enable all traffic, then it is the
Come again.
enable the all traffic rules.
The same security group we need to give a all traffic.
All traffic is on.
Maybe there is some limitations, so that's why it is.
Yeah, so that is running. So it's redirected to HTTP. We don't have any 443 port or we don't have any certificates, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now here whether that is successful or failure also we can get it from the, say if we go to the Ubuntu, say here we have var log, in the var log, here we have these two files are able to see in the var log folder, cloud-init.log, cloud-init-output.log. Okay, so these files are related to those like a user data kind of thing. Say suppose here we have whatever the commands we have given, that all results will come to this location. Okay, so whatever the scripts we have run, and that output also will come to that output.log also. Like here we are going to get that Nginx service. So all these we are going to see the results. Say suppose whether that is successful or failure, we can see from this log. Okay, so now here for this instance also, you can go to instance actions. Edit user data. But by default, if you don't, if you change this user data, so we need to stop that instance. Okay, but by default, only if the user data is executing for the first time itself. But there is one setting. If you enable that setting, even on the subsequent logins also, that user data will execute. But by default, if you modify this also, it will execute only for the first time. And that means that already launched. But on the next time also we want to execute, we need to change one setting on that user data, and mandatory we need to stop that instance also to perform this user data. It's mandatory. We need to stop that instance need to be stopped. Then that is going to execute. Say suppose you got any error. Okay, so but in the automation, this helps a lot because not each and every time that script need to execute. When this need to be executed, the main purpose of the user data is that script need to be executed at the instance itself, at the instance launching itself. We need to use. Okay, say, but by default, what is the behavior? What is the behavior?
Only first time during provisioning only.
Only, yeah. Say for the first time itself that is getting executed. Whenever we use that user data, only for the first time itself that is getting executed. Say suppose in order to like multiple times if we want to run that. Okay, so that the cloud you need to, like we need to run the we need to reinstall that. Okay, so we have one workarounds also. We can clear that var lib cloud, all that we need to remove, or we need to update that user data also, edit user data. Okay, so we try to make it running multiple times also. But the main purpose is only for the one time we need to use it. And that var log cloud init output dot logs also we need to use for troubleshooting. If any of the errors, what exactly the problem to troubleshoot that, that's we need to use that user data we need to use. And with the Windows also use the PowerShell commandlets to run this. Then I'll tell one more workaround also. Assume we have an EC2 instance. Okay, so in the EC2 instance, we lost the key. So we lost the key, instance key we lost. Then we can't connect to that EC2 instance. There are other techniques also. I'm explaining you the traditional method. Then that EC2 instance you create into AMI is one method. That AMI, while creating the AMI to instance, you specify new key pair. You specify the new key pair. With this, what is going to happen is we are creating a new instance, and that like we can say don't use the existing key pair itself at the time of instance creation because we lost that key. Okay, so we lost that key. So that is the purpose we are going to create a new key pair, and using the new key, we can connect to the instance. And what we can do is we can delete that old instance, we can delete. Okay, so that old instance, anyhow, we lost the key. Okay, so AWS by default is not going to store those keys of the customers. Because if the AWS keep those those keys, we will get the doubt AWS may connect to those instances. These kind of doubts will come. So that is the reason AWS is not going to store those keys. Then what is the workaround we have if you lost the key? If you lost the key, what is the workaround we have?
We need to create or like
You mean second method?
We need to create an AMI from that. Okay, from that AMI, what we are doing is we are creating a new instance with the new key pair, and to that instance we can connect to that. Okay, all the data, everything would be there. And if it is a production, we'll try to attach the same network interface. Those all also try to detach the network interfaces and attach those network interfaces also to the same instances, try to attach. Okay. Then we need to enable the, I think, static website everyone configured, right? And through that Route 53 also try to set up, we need to create two S3 buckets we need to create, and those two S3 buckets also we need to have the matching name of the we should have the same matching name of the, like our DNS record, like a DNS hosted zone name, and with the prefix of www also we need to create. Then we need to get that alias. In the alias, we need to get that drop down. In that alias, we need to get that drop down also. We need to get that. Okay. So then user data we have done, and try to create a LAMP server also. That will do auto scaling and attaching to the load balancer. And instead of keeping LAMP MySQL on the same server, that should be distributed in the real time. And that distributed, we are using the RDS server. We don't keep the same same server for the database also is not a best practice. Okay, so that settings also we need to apply. Then that's going to be stored in That's going to be stored in the RDS. We need to store the database. Then, like whatever that remaining, all the stuff, like we have the web server, app server, we need to create our launch template or launch configuration. Okay, so what is the difference between launch template and launch configuration? What is the difference between launch template and launch configuration?
Configuration is old one, depreciated, I think.
Yeah, so launch template is the newer version. Launch configuration is the old version, but launch configuration is not supporting the versioning of the multiple images. All that is not supporting. Whereas the versioning is supported. Both are pre-configured kind of templates where we are going to store the AMI networking, which type of key pairs, size, which type of instances we need to create, all those networking details, all we are bundled. From that, we are going to create the auto scaling groups. So from that, we are going to create the auto scaling groups we are creating. Okay, so from that auto scaling groups, what we are doing is like attaching to the load balancer also. In that itself, if you keep the database, what is the problem we are getting is, if you auto scale that, in every instance also database also is getting, that's not a centralized or distributed solution. Okay, so we should have a centralized distributed database we required. Okay, and how to design the networking, VPC, subnets, all that VPC design also we need to provide, because in every interview they're asking how we are going to design a three-tier or entire kind of application architecture design from the scratch. We need to start from the IAM, VPC, instances, AMIs, auto scaling, okay, load balancers. Finally, that load balancer DNS we need to attach to. Finally, that load balancer DNS we need to attach to
Route 53.
the Route 53 as the which record, A record or alias?
Alias record.
Lies.
To the alias itself, because that's not an IP address to add a record. Okay, so we need to link to the
Alias.
alias record. Okay. So then, CloudWatch alerts, SNS, log groups, I will explain. Cars also, I'll explain in the next session. I'll explain these three. We have flow logs,
CloudWatch.
then
Cloud.
this one.
Cars, CloudWatch, and
Cars, how one resource access to given to another user, and complete CloudWatch, we want to get the application logs, all these also we can store to like S3, sorry, CloudWatch we can upload. We have an Nginx web server, we have access log, error logs, all these also I want to upload to. Or we got var log, we have the cloud init output logs. I want to store from the CloudWatch. I don't want to connect to that instance. Okay. So and based on that, how to configure those alerts and how we integrate the SNS notifications, all these we'll discuss in the next session. Okay. So till this, try to finish all these use cases. In the next week also, I'll give another 20 to 40 scenarios. So those also we need to finish. From next time onwards, I am only not responsible. Everyone need to come with 4 to 5 use cases, different use cases.
Yes.
Then we can cover more topics. Okay? Any doubts? Any doubts on this? And that snapshot lifecycle policy also, everyone test it.
Yes.
So at that time, whether the snapshot is creating or not, all those try to test it. And that passwordless access also is important for us.
Snapshot policy where it is stored once they take the particular snapshot. Then
Come again?
I'm asking if I'm giving any snapshot for a particular time. So
Yes,
where
that is when we have the snapshot lifecycle manager, right?
yes.
So you schedule a time, maybe next 1 hour like that, and at that time, whether the snapshot got created and whether the retained policy wise, whether those snapshots have been retained or not, test once. So we just created the snapshot, right? Whether that is working fine or not, also we need to confirm before in the production environment. Okay, then we have the snapshots. Additional to that, we have AWS backups also we'll discuss. And system manager also we'll discuss in the next session. Okay. Yeah, any other doubts? Yeah, hello.
No, sir. No doubts.
Yeah, okay, sure then.